Welcome to AWN's coverage of this week's football press conference. I'm Elena Jones.
And I'm Jordan Luker. The Mountaineers finished strong against last week's opponent, Old Dominion, and there's a lot to talk about. But before we get into that and the press conference, we have a post-game report from our very own Brian Alonzo about the big win from this past Saturday.
Before we tune into the press conference with Coach Sean Clark, we have an expert analyst, a sports editor from the Appalachian, Adam Persico. Some great points were from Brian after watching that piece. He touched on the major points from the game. But what was your biggest takeaway from the game, Adam?
Well, my biggest takeaway was that the defense has much more mental resiliency than people expected them to have. They did a lot of bending but not breaking, giving up chunk plays that we've seen them give up throughout the year, but in the red zone they really locked it down, forced turnovers, and forced them to either kick field goals or turn the ball over.
And Adam, in that Old Dominion game, we saw a much improved App State defense. Who do you give us maybe one player real quick before the press conference who was a standout for you?
Well, to me, it's very obvious it was Zaire Gamble at the end of the game with a pass breakup and an interception to seal the game. This whole team has kind of a very strong next man up mentality, and I think players like Gamble really exemplify that.
And I think App State had a lot of injuries, but we saw a lot of players standing out there, including Max Drag. Do you think there is just these standout freshman players for Appalachian State? What's your thought on that in light of some of the injuries we've seen?
Yeah, I think they're all very talented players and they deserve to be on the field and get their chances. But I think it's also a point or a testament to the game plan by the coaches and the way they prepare these players for the games and for situations that they're going to be in.
It's time now to go live at Kid Brewer Stadium.
A very confident Sean Clark in that press conference. Now, Adam, what did you get from that? Just your general thoughts about that press conference today.
Yeah, well, I think he's spot on about the offense needing to strike early and strike often. As it was mentioned, the offense did score in all four quarters for the first time this year, but it was all started by a huge play at the beginning of the game. I think App State's offense is kind of a momentum-based offense, and if they get it rolling at the beginning of each game, I think that's going to help them succeed throughout the year.
Now, App State won with the turnovers during the game versus Old Dominion, but we're getting ready to go up against Coastal, who's third in the fumbles and turnovers. How do you think we'll be able to combat that?
Yeah, I think it's just as simple as taking care of the ball. I think every player on the team is very capable and very aware of what Coastal is coming into this game trying to do. So as long as they make an effort to take care of the ball, I don't see App State having too much of an issue with it because I firmly believe they know what they're going up against.
And now, Adam, Joey Aguilar, 4 touchdowns, 1 interception, definitely an improvement as we've seen before those games in Marshall and Louisiana. He's definitely improved from Georgia State and against Old Dominion, but it could have been more. If it wasn't for a few lucky dropped passes from the defense, I remember one in particular where he sidearmed it, and then it just the defender just dropped it. What do you think Joey has improved upon, but also needs to work on in his passing game?
Yeah, and I think that play was a bit of an anomaly for the game. I think if you look at Joey's yards throughout the season, he has kind of gone down on yards at this game. And so even though it was 4 touchdowns, 1 interception, it's actually less of the gunslinging game we expected from Joey Aguilar because the App State offense really relied on the run, and that allowed Joey to throw for those 4 touchdowns and open up the defense. So I think he's trending in the right direction and kind of making smarter choices as a quarterback. And so I think that's another encouraging thing for Joey in the App State offense.
And then Caden Robinson, Elena, you mentioned, Caden Robinson, not Elena. Sean Clark mentioned that Caden Robinson only had that 1 touchdown. How do you see App State really using that more specialized receivers? And Sean Clark mentioned it, Dalton Stroman, but Caden Robinson, leading receiver for App State, but also only has 1 touchdown. What's your takeaway from that?
Well, yeah, I think in the middle of the field, Caden Robinson is very much a safety blanket, just like Joey Aguilar uses his tight ends in the red zone. Caden coming out of the slot, you can almost guarantee that he's going to get open 4 out of 5 times, right? And so maybe not in the red zone, he hasn't had as much success because as we've seen throughout the year, the App State offense gets down to the 4 or 5 yard line, and then you either run it or Aguilar looks for his tight ends. Now, Caden Robinson, he doesn't seem too fazed by it. He was all smiles in the post-game press conference. He's happy to score, but at the end of the day, as long as he's contributing, he's happy, and the other receivers feel the exact same way.
So we've been seeing over the course of the whole season of App State's defensive kind of struggling a little bit, but then versus Old Dominion this game, I feel like they really came back. What was your opinion on that? Do you think it'll be able to continue into the game with Coastal Carolina?
Well, I think there were still some issues with, as I said earlier, with giving up those chunk plays and those big yardage plays, especially early in the game when Old Dominion kept trying those bubble screens and it kept working for at least 15 yards each time. There wasn't really an adjustment until